Glad I got the snort out before we went live. We'll try and save some more snorts for later. So good evening, ladies. So good to have this finally come into being. We've been planning this for a while. Wow. Planning this for a while. And Daph, my great Shanti, it looks like I am only streaming on.
Do you want me to look at my phone?
Yeah, I might only be streaming on YouTube. I love.
And that's okay, because if you want, you can share it elsewhere later.
I can share it later. I've got it set up so that this podcast goes out on Exponential Joy, Nancy Nance, and YouTube, but who knows?
Sometimes technology is unpredictable.
Yeah, and it's okay, because everything that happens is correctable, adjustable, changeable, all that stuff. So I no longer get totally stressed out about it. Like I did with family. Wow, there we go. Family. We're talking about family first, and boom, yeah. Like the amount of stress that I used to have in my life because of the way that I felt responsible for all the ducks in the row. Yeah.
The ducks never line up, do they, Summer?
Some people's ducks seem to line up sometimes.
Sometimes.
I'm not sure how they're getting them to line up, but
corporal punishment, right?
Yeah. Yep. So some people have, in families, a certain expectation that keeps people in line for a long or a short period of time. Yeah, families.
I see that it says Owl's Nest of Ancient Wisdom, Miss Summer. Please tell us about that.
Oh, well, we have a mutual friend, Deanne, and that was the name of my business that came to me. It's a nest, a little comfy spot for people to come and rest as they recollect themselves for a new life in flight based on their spirit and their soul and the new era that I think is showing up for us all, which families help us with that, even though it doesn't look like that in the short term.
Well, I would say sometimes families, show us the things that we sometimes don't necessarily want, so that we can decide what the things are that we do want, in order for us to take the time in that nest to rest and recuperate, so that we can fly and do what we choose to do in this world.
Yes.
What do you think?
Oh gosh, I was an only child, so I just wanted. I watched Little House on the Prairie, and I was going to have a family with lots of children, and they were all going to be friends and love each other and be kind and wonderful forever.
And how did that work out?
I'm like, oh my God, stop fighting. It was not that, like it just wasn't. I didn't have the sister, it was Laura Ingalls, and was it Melissa? Laura and Melissa? I can't remember their names.
I watched that show too, and I don't remember their names either.
Yeah, one of them became blind, and but that's what I had. I had this image in my mind as to what family would be like, and nothing was like that ever.
Yeah, the Brady Bunch was another one that I watched quite a bit. All the six sisters could come, and brothers, and it'd all be hunky-dory, happy. And then you find out later that, this marriage, he was gay in the end too. So none of that was even remotely true to what real life was.
totally shatters it, doesn't it? When you come into that knowing. I know, because for years I hid so much of the dysfunction of my family. I couldn't, like, oh my God, no way. Yeah.
There's a saying I love, Nancy. It's the difference between functional and dysfunctional families is that functional families talk about their dysfunction.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. And I think
Yeah.
that that's a big part of what makes a safe space, like you were talking about the owl's nest,
Yes.
being able to
That's
talk
true.
about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, this winter I got reunited with some of my family members, my ex-husband and my daughter. There was quite a big rift. And as life would have it, we have these challenges. And he ended up having a stroke. And I was so honored to be able to be called and show up for him. And life always throws us these curveballs that end up being these Jedi training loops for us to really learn what unconditional love is, showing up with family, what they might call forgiveness, and just learn how to really, you know, show up with each other without judgment.
Well, I want to ask both of you ladies, actually. Somebody asked me the other day, do you have a brother? I said, well, yeah, he's 11 years younger than me, but we're not that close. But let me tell you, if something happens and shit goes down and I need him or he needs me, we are there for each other,
Mhm.
And I think, I mean, I can't speak for every other family, but I know, and I don't talk to my parents or my brother every day, but if something happens and I need them, they will drop whatever. I am so blessed. But do you have people like that in your families, ladies?
That will drop things for me.
Well, if you need them for something, that will be there. Because that's what family is, right? But there's also the family that's not, blood related, So
That's true. Yeah, my family
Yeah.
lives far away and my parents are quite a lot older, so I
Mhm.
don't have blood family, but I do have a lot of
Yeah.
spirit family. Really good friends where we've yep, had one of mine who almost died, so she stayed in my bedroom in my bed for 2 weeks while we recovered her to health, and so I've known other people like that too, you know?
Yeah. And Spirit showed me Aunt Polly. So any of you seen
Who's
Peaky
Aunt
Blinders
Polly?
before? Have you seen Peaky Blinders? Oh my gosh. Peaky Blinders, put it on your list. They're an Irish, Scottish. They're a mafia family, and Aunt Polly is one of the matriarchs. And yeah, my boys would travel across they jump on a plane no matter where they are and come and take care of mom in a heartbeat and anything that she needed. Um, and that's the beauty of the dysfunctional family that we had that became extremely functional. Um, Extremely functional. I've got so many boys that call me mom, guys that I've
Mm.
worked with on a life coaching and a mentorship basis, others that have come to me for my mediumship skills, or I've called them up and been like, yeah, so there's a guy on the bridge this morning and he was waving a sign that said that you needed to have an album at your wedding. Like, so I've got quite a beautiful relationship with a very extended family. So, yeah, I'm
Mm.
blessed to have that. I've got a lot of shovel holders. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so you got to tell the joke about the shovel holders because Summer doesn't get that.
Oh, yeah, see, Daphne and I watched Yellowstone, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story of characters and archetypes who have a very dysfunctional life. Great function, though, because they really do talk out their problems, but in the running of the ranch that they have, if there are any characters that need to be disposed of, they're taken to the train station and they never come back
To
from the
be
train station.
disposed of?
Mhm.
They take them to the train station. That's what the yeah, and they're gone. That character's gone.
They go to the train station and they just don't come home. So Nancy jokes that I'm her bring the shovel girl,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
right?
We'll
You gotta
bring the
have a few
shovel
of them
girl.
in case they're unavailable.
But
That's
this
for
is
all
what
the
family
BS.
does, right?
Yeah.
Gotta pick up the BS behind everybody.
Right?
Shovel it up. Yeah. I
But
mean,
as we
that's one
go
of the
through the challenge, right? We go through the challenges and we need somebody that will keep all of our secrets. And we need many secret keepers depending upon what it is that we're going through, because I believe that the conversations that we have with another are not meant to be shared.
oh,
That intimacy is very, very valuable.
mm.
That's why we've got so many people in our friends and family list. I know I do. I'm very blessed.
Well,
Yeah.
That's interesting because I don't know if I think secrets are one of those things that cause a lot of problems. And I don't know if people can actually keep secrets. I always say, whatever distortions are in the field or secrets are felt anyway. They're in the field.
mhm.
Anyone with a little bit of intuition, people are like, something's just not quite right here. Um, and I don't know if I agree with sharing everything with everyone all the time, but I think we
No,
have such a
we have
shared,
confidence that we keep in people. There's confidences.
oh,
There's
for
that
sure.
there's that bond of things that you can tell to someone that you know they will not share.
Hmm.
That's what I mean by
Well,
secrets.
and I was going to ask Summer, I know that you and Andre are
Hmm.
creating a sacred space in your place that you just moved into just at the end of last year, too,
Hmm.
right? To create community. So, can you tell us about that?
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah, we've got a really nice space where Andre has his men's groups. And speaking of family, we feel blessed because of our spiritual family with especially conscious communication in terms of we all talk about speaking. Um, I love Marshall Rosenberg's work in nonviolent communication when people are talking about sharing their shit in a way that, um, people say, oh, I don't want to air my dirty laundry, but most people have similar dirty laundries.
Mhm.
And when we get to see what people have and we help clean each other's, it's just so much of a special shared space that people get to live in. Um, I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Can I ask what drew you guys to create that space?
Ooh, what drew us to create this space? That's a good question. Um, loving people, loving having people talk about things that are real rather than just the weather and all the surface stuff. Yeah, healing, universal laws, universal ideas, mirrors in all of our experiences that help us know that we're not crazy, that we're actually not dysfunctional in our dysfunction, that it can actually be functional, that it can, you can laugh at it, play with it, you know.
So, how would somebody, if they're in the Edmonton area, how would somebody get in contact with you guys to maybe become a part of that or learn more about what you guys do?
Oh, well, on the Alchemical Wisdom School, we have lots of information about conscious communication. It's courses at mindbodymedicinetherapy.com. And we have groups of 10 that come together and we share about how to communicate so that people can get their needs met in their relationships, so that they can navigate triggers and things in ways that are full of growth and opportunity rather than what people will say is toxic or have to necessarily cut people out. It's really, really transformative. Marshall Rosenberg was one of those really big thought leaders in his day. He was one of those. Do you guys know him? He was a PhD in psychology. And then one day he's like, I think I'm done being paid to judge people. I'm just done. Like, I'm not doing it anymore. So he created nonviolent communication. And then when I met Dre, he was trained in what they call positive intelligence with Shirzad Surmi. And he talks about our saboteurs Most of us are dysfunctional because we run saboteur patterns. I'm a controller and a perfectionist and sometimes a people pleaser, and I can avoid shit sometimes too. But once we know and can see each other's saboteur behaviors, we don't have to judge them or try to manipulate people. We become a little more on the side of laughing at them and seeing them as something that's not so serious anymore.
Well, and I think that's a great way to bring family together too. Like you're talking about the dysfunction, but when you can own the dysfunction, it's actually more functional than dysfunctional.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their quirks, right? The way we see things, the way we perceive things, and when you can speak it out loud, it doesn't sit in your head in a way that distorts and creates sometimes the negative types of secrets that can just destroy a
Well, and
family.
then you don't self-sabotage your own success. When you can celebrate your quirks and be your authentic self, life just happens, right? Right, ladies? For both of you, Miss
Yeah.
Oh,
Nancy and
absolutely,
Miss Summer.
absolutely. I know when I get together with our family, we're not broken. There's absolutely nothing that says to another person that you're broken. It says that you're completely loved and accepted for everything that you are, in the most magical ways. The relationships that I have with my sons are definitely evolved in a way that, I mean, we're friends. They
Mm,
come to me for questions. I'll come to them for questions. I mean, we're planning on building homes together again. Not this year, but next year.
mm,
We work well together. That began when they were young kids and they were forced into a slavery like you worked on weekends for dad because he said so. So they're very, very, very knowledgeable and very hardworking. And now we just have fun together. Um, and we're so supportive of each other. It's really a good thing. So
curious
yeah.
how you created that. I think you said the ideal thing was, right, where you go to family and you're unconditionally accepted and loved for everything you are. But I don't know if there's a lot of families that feel that way.
Uh-uh. No, there aren't.
No.
There most definitely aren't. And it doesn't mean that we agree on everything. It's not all sunshine and roses and butterflies. My son Jarrett will call me out on things in ways that make people's mouths drop. Um, he's very honest, and he'll call me on my shit, and I will do the same for him. And that's why we're able to work through the obstacles and challenges of life. And there are many. I mean, Jared has struggled with a lot of things in life. We've both gone through layers and levels of addictions. He definitely mastered that more than I did. He had more opportunities to master it. Um, Apples don't fall far from trees, and his father is an addict. So to go through that patterning in a family, our soul, a reason for being alive, our soul patterning is that of addiction. So when you go through that and overcome those challenges, um, yeah, it's like having an AA circle, but better.
Yeah, I believe families can be that for each other. I really do. Once we can get down to the roots of it, feelings and needs, as Marshall Rosenberg's. I just love that man. He talks about needs, and people are always like, "Oh, I don't want to be needy." We're all about these hyper independence rather than these interdependent relationships. But he
Hmm.
talks about needs as being words that describe the life serving energy that motivates and sustains us. I just freaking love that. It's like, took me years to figure out that Marshall was really describing the universe, God, the creator, whatever, but he described it in such a non-denominational way that there's no way anyone could be upset with it.
Can you say that once more time? How needs are what?
He says needs are words that describe the life-serving energy that motivates and sustains us. So
That's beautiful.
I know, and all our words, all of our actions are attempts to meet our needs
Mhm.
in our families, and we're just different beings trying to meet our needs. And so when we start talking about the life-serving energy that motivates and sustains us in concrete terms, like I want connection, I want growth, contribution, I have a need to mourn the loss of blah blah blah, Um, they're words that have no judgment to them.
Mhm.
And that's where we can express authentically, like Nancy said, and actually live in a life where we are accepted because we all have the same universal needs.
Mhm.
I went on a
Absolutely.
tangent.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, mic drop for sure, Daph. Because there's a difference between being needy when you're that succubine, you're that energy vampire. My son Jared's got a tattoo on his side of a succubine, so that was from a previous relationship. He got that one, yeah, down lefts and rights. It's backwards when he looks at me. He got that when he was in Thailand, and at the end of a relationship, and it's very, very distinctive. Our bodies are marked with a series of tattoos that tell quite the story. And energy vampires, the people that are needy, that come to you um, wanting more than they're willing to give. It's an equal exchange of energy. That's very important. That's why I work well with some people and I don't work well with some people. But it's okay. Both have taught me. Yeah.
Yeah, energy exchange, name of the game.
Oh, definitely.
I was looking at you, Summer. I was thinking, what's going through your head right now?
Well, I was thinking of Rumi's quote. He's got one that I really like. It's out beyond the ideas of right and wrong. There's a field, and I'll meet you there. That energy
Mhm.
field of exchange. Yeah.
Beautiful.
It
Hmm.
is beautiful. Yeah, it really is. I was just switching it to Purify. Daphne and I both run the same. Same. We've got the same technology, but we use it in our own unique way. And there are certain frequencies that I know will work very effectively for me. Purify is great. Daphne and I were playing one evening, and it was like this one, no, this one, no, this one, yeah, that, whoa, what's that? And it was able to take me from that gorilla Godzilla, um, I'm just gonna knock stuff down, to,
Who's angry?
oh, well, this is an interesting feeling, right? Yeah, yeah. It was super cool. So yeah.
What is that? It's on a phone? What is,
No, remember when I came to your house last time? I had the portal.
oh yeah.
Okay, and so she's running the portal on her end too.
Oh, okay.
I'm running the miracle frequency with the portal, and I'm also using the infrared light and the violet light. So, and that's going out to all of us right now as we are doing this visiting or talking or whatever. So yes, I'm sending out miracle energy to everybody, so everybody can feel
Great.
good, because
Great.
everybody needs a miracle,
Yeah. Spirit, magic, and miracles. Everyone needs it.
right?
I've got this weird head cold that's hanging on to me, and I don't get sick, and it's just like this.
Hmm.
This
Okay, I'm
shift in
going to change the frequency. You're running purified, Nancy. I'm going to change
my
these to Pleo. Let's see
I
how
knew
you
she was
feel.
gonna do that. I knew she was gonna do that. I wanted to put it down. Daph's gonna do it.
I
We
had
work
the
well
laser
together.
on Clio today. I had it just sucked to
Yeah,
my face on
because
Clio.
you have a laser. Is it still running good for you?
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for charging it, by the way, when you were here. She has
Okay,
magic
where's all
hands,
the Pleo?
literally.
Pardon
And,
me?
and that's
I said you have healing hand, magic hands, literally, because you allowed my charger to work when it wasn't before.
well, and that's where when we are able to be with like-minded people, um, there is such a, oh, it's like cotton candy and bubble gum. It's so
Mhm.
beautiful. There's an ease, there's a flow, there's sharing of information, and there's sharing of things that we didn't know anything about. I'm open to learning so many things and then taking them home and deciding which ones bounce or don't bounce in the rhythm what's for me right now.
Well, and that's why you're doing these amazing podcast showcasing so many amazing people that do so many amazing things, Nancy.
Oh,
Because
we've got a lot of different people on that we really do. Daphne and I have been busting out the pre-records so that when I'm in Mexico, we'll have them up and running so that I'm not concentrating on that while I'm concentrating on moving into a different mindset, like just a different. I want to enjoy my vacation and not have to be concerned about internet connections. Because that's a real challenge. So we had a man that was playing the piano, Jazz for Peace. That was totally cool. Yeah, just a tremendous man that I'd met through another friend of ours, Liz, Tea with Liz. I'd gone to a reunion online with her, and there were all these faces because it was a Zoom with pages and pages and pages and pages of people who'd been on her show, and then the opportunity to reach out with other people. Like, it was so much fun. And that's what I'm finding with DAF. It's just fun.
Well, Summer, can you please tell us more about what it is that you're doing for others right now? Because I know that last time I saw you, we were talking about you holding space for and providing courses for people. So how's that going?
Oh, amazing. Yeah, the Alchemical Wisdom School is part of the Owl's Nest of Ancient Wisdom. It's an interesting thing because I seem to be having quite a few cancer patients. I help people in the Soul Truth Academy really access their own inner wisdom, their soul's truth through a process called Inside Out, which allows people, like you said, Nancy, you were in a raging, angry person, all of a sudden this frequency shifted you. So I help people be able to shift their frequencies quickly when they're stuck, when they've got symptoms showing up. It's all about taking Einstein's wisdom, which is all energy can't be created or destroyed, only transformed. And most of us are still stuck in that fight, force, or fix paradigm where we're trying to fix things, we're trying to move things, we're trying to physically get rid of symptoms, when really, if we were to access source energy, which we can do in so many different ways. One of them is through family, as a matter of fact, because they're always mirrors of things that we need to learn and shift within ourselves. But I liken it to Jedi training. I don't know. I just took that video down. Do you guys remember from Star Wars where Luke's in this shooting down the Death Star and it says, use the Force, Luke, use the Force. So I teach people how to do that. It's like muscle testing, except it's from the inside. So people get that inner felt sense of resonant truth when they know that a belief system, a body symptom just isn't working for them. It helps them shift so many things. Migraines. I had a streptococcal blood infection that disappeared. A lot of people look at surface symptoms and protocols, whereas if you are to tap into the energy, you can get spontaneous insight, and it happens. It just is always happening. We just tend to get in the way through judgment. And judgment is the only thing that stops energy from transforming. So my most favorite thing right now is my Soul Truth Academy, where we have 10 women in each pod, and we practice taking the assumptions or judgments of things or people, whether it's in our family or our friends, and understanding what mirror that is to our experience, so we can live, like Daphne said, more authentic lives, lives of service, lives of contribution, of joy, of fun, of bringing back magic, like Daphne does. Because I mean, people think magic is like this fluffy, flaky thing. It actually comes from the word magi, which means wise one. There's all these wisdom keepers being born, and we're leaving an era of, well, what I call the health scare system, knowing that we're not these disempowered beings, but powerful, powerful beings that create our own reality, whether it's a physical symptom, discordance, a conflict. and how we can shift it instantly by accessing source energy and the insights that can come through us through, um, well, different people have different ways of doing it, some for sound, some images, some dreams. But we all are able to use our body as a conduit to truth. And that's my most profound, joyous, amazing thing that I do with my, what I would call my soul family, my soul tribe of women that then we mix and bring together with Andre's alchemists in the alchemical, well, what he calls the alchemists of the round table instead of the knights of the round table. And then we communicate consciously.
That, you know what, and that's so awesome that that's what you're working, that's what you're doing, and supporting and shining the light so others can do that too. I was at work. I was at work the other day, and somebody asked me how I was, and I said magical. And they said, "Really?" I said, "Yes, this is how I choose to live." And
Yeah.
they're like, "I want what you got." I'm like,
Yeah,
"You just have to make a
exactly.
choice."
Yeah.
Like it's not. Yeah, took me a little while to get here, but anyways.
Well,
But yes,
there are there's those different reflections of ourselves that we are at different times of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all good. To help somebody understand how the place that they're at has amazing in it is a big, it helps break through so many things when you can wake up in the morning instead of that, oh great, it's another Monday, to realizing that there are many things in life to be grateful, but truly shifting that, so that it's not just I'm going to write out gratitudes. Um, Daphne and I have been writing gratitudes to each other for years now, every morning or every evening. If we miss a day, we double down. But that true ability to be able to see the good in life and acknowledge the challenges, work through them. We're on that hero's journey. There's a certain part that we are in the story, and then that chapter in the story is ended. We get to the success because that's what we're reaching for. We're all reaching for success. We all want more of something, whether that's the ability to travel, or the ability to spend more time with another person, or the ability to move through the physical challenges. And then once we get to the end of that, now what? Then what do we do as we're working through that change? It's constant evolution. So helping people where they're at is a big one. And I know, Daph, you do that, that you specialize in that too. Where you're at. How's that working for you? Where you're at, right?
I ask that question lots because people come to me with things, and we'll talk about what's going on, and they'll ask me for my advice, and I don't necessarily like to give advice. I like to share from my experiences, and then they'll come back to me and they'll still be dealing with that situation, and I'll say, okay, so what changes did you make in your life to deal with that situation? And if they said nothing, well, nothing in your life changes if you change nothing. So how's your head feeling, by the way? Is it eased a little bit? Changing the subject.
Yeah, no, I don't know. This is hanging on to me.
Why?
The interesting, weirdest thing.
I'll talk about that later, because who in your life is bugging you? Just saying, just asking the question.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, I see this is coming at the end of Christmas, and my ex just getting out of the hospital, and so many interesting things. Speaking of family, Christmas and all of that stuff used to drive me insane. I'd have these expectations of what I wanted or needed, and now I don't. I love having the break and just going with the flow at Christmas, but it's such a hard time for so many people You have to spend time with people you'd rather not, and the rest of the world comes to an urging halt for several days.
That's true.
But
But yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
going back to the meeting people where they're at, getting out of the way and just letting them be where they're at. And I mean, Nancy, you're wearing the shirt, you do you. Everybody does their own thing where they're at. And they need to do what they need to do for whatever they need to do it for.
yeah, unique life paths everywhere. Yeah.
So
Well,
what is the
I think
latest book that you've written, Miss Summer?
What's that, Daph?
Your book that you have out right now.
Oh, yeah, Soul Side Out. Universal laws to healing and living your best life. Yeah. It's those universal law things. Overlaps with what Marshall Rosenberg talks about, which is the universal energy that motivates and sustains us.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means and why we're all here. All these past lives, all these new lives. It's so funny. People are always like, I can't remember what I was doing if I were to have to think about it last June. And people are like, I can't remember their childhood. It's no wonder people can't remember exactly what their past lives were or other things, but the energy that we carry with us is timeless. It's just um it what am I trying to say? Um our bodies and our DNA carry lifetimes of information that we can carry forward. And I believe the veils of all of that are coming to an end. Um, People are remembering and growing at such exponential rates right now. Exponential joy is possible. There's also a lot of chaos as people find out where they're at the most isn't bringing them the most joy or the most success, like you said, Nancy. They're like, something totally different and radical is taking place in so many people's lives. It's really exciting. Um,
well,
some
isn't
people,
that when some of the biggest challenges come about is through that massive change, that massive trauma, that car wreck, that divorce, that diagnosis of cancer. I know looking back on my life, and I've been doing that a lot lately, is looking through that to see, wow, um, there has been a lot. And then reflecting on all that I've learned through those challenges and obstacles. Because if you can remember all that you've learned through your challenges and obstacles and give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back, you can realize that there's so much more that you can do, and that
Mhm.
you're doing now, that you're doing right now. Well, there, and no matter what it is, some who the heck was it, Daph, that we had on the show that was talking about working in the incarceration system?
D Chambers.
D. D. Chambers. And Dee was talking about how she had worked with so many people that were in jail and that had the opportunity to change through their challenges. And we were going back and forth, and I explained to her how some people in the mischief, that because there's the actual charge of mischief or the charge of um, dealing drugs or stealing cars or the career that they had that put them into incarceration. When you can break down and see what patterns you used and what skills you had, those are marketable skills that you can transfer into other things. Very good at organizing, perhaps, the ability to make a cold sales call. There's so much when you start pulling apart the different parts of your life that show you what amazing you've done. Just depends upon the way you look at it. And I'm not saying that breaking the law is it's beneficial. It'll teach you some lessons, but you can learn from that and take those skills. And some of the best business people are people that have learned through big mistakes.
Oh, all of the life challenges are just amazing gifts. That's really all they are. I always tell people go to the gym and lift weights and they expect to have all these really big muscles and things like that. When it comes to emotional stuff, they're like, ah. No. Welcome the most difficult people in your life. Welcome those things. We're so used to, numbing, drugging, hiding, avoiding, denying, repressing, doing all these weird things with it. I mean, what would it be like to come to it and with a degree of curiosity and wonder and, you know, a shift from feeling absolute panic or fear.
Mhm.
And I believe these are what all healing crises are for. Shifting just a slight little perceptual shift from panic, fear to, oh, this is an adventure.
Mhm.
Well, don't they say that fear and excitement are the same chemical in the brain?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very similar, right? The difference between, I mean, if we were to watch Indiana Jones or any of those things and adventure movies, and there weren't snake pits and there weren't these crazy animals jumping out of everywhere, it would be boring as hell. So we have the most exciting
Yep.
trip in our own lives, and most of us don't want to play. A lot of people are busy complaining or doing all these things, and it's like, oh no, this is the most magical mirror you will ever find in your entire life to
It's
look
really
at.
funny when somebody looks at you and say, "Well, what do you do?" I said, "I do things that make me happy." You should see the looks I get when I say that, but that's what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
I like because people always ask what you do because it's always impolite to ask how much money you make, I think. But I'm always curious about how people are bringing their best lives into form. Like what you say, Daphne, right? How much joy, how much exponential joy have you brought in your life? How authentically are you living your life? How are you bringing source through you to make the world a better place?
I
And
like the question, what was the best part of your day?
what's the best part of your day? Yeah. What are
That's
you
part
most
of
grateful for?
Yep.
What's the universe trying to teach you today? Yeah.
Yeah, what was the best part of your day? That was something that we did as a family. My kids would come home from school, and I'd ask them what the best part of your day was, and what was your challenge as well. It was always important to bring on to the table what the challenge was, because we can get stuck in the let's put on a bright shiny face when
Mm,
life is not bright and shiny. We can put on
yeah.
that false exterior. So bringing both out, um, it's a great way to be. But the adventure, yeah, I mean, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you want to go? Give me 5 places and let's make it happen. It's beautiful. It's going to take some deliberate intention, some gratitude, um, some action, and some accountability. But if you're willing to do all of that, the
Here's a good
sky's the
question.
limit.
Colton, my son, asked me the other day. He said, if you could go back in time and change one thing, what would it be? That's a huge, I mean, that's a gargantuan question. If you could go back in time and change one thing, what would it be?
I don't know if I'd want to change anything.
That's what I told him. I said, I don't think I want to change anything.
I think I'd
Mhm.
want to have some conversations, though. I think I'd want to get to know some people
Mm.
better, more, differently. I've got a friend of mine when I was in grade 6, grade 7, Janet Pofferman, and Janet and another girl by the name of Lori, and they were mean to me. They bullied me. They pushed me all the way home. And then at the Christmas concert, I knocked Janet. I knocked her. I knocked her right down to the ground, and she came back with braces. And years and years later, I know, years and years and years later, I found out that she died of an overdose.
Oh.
So having the conversation about what was going on in her life, because if she was bullying me,
Mhm.
there's something there. So even having more confidence to have those conversations, be like, why are you being such a bitch? You know?
Yeah. Well, and then, it goes back to Marshall who says any behavior, anything, whether people are killing people, murdering people, showing up in jails, being bitchy, it's the best way they know how to meet their needs. And it sounds crazy, but it's true. And yeah, if
No,
we
for
can have
sure.
those conversations, what is it that she was needing at that time?
Yeah, what was going on in her life? What was it? But we were afraid to have those conversations. You didn't ask those questions.
No, not back
It
then.
wasn't something that we were taught.
No.
But we know it now. So now is where the power is, right?
Yeah.
And have you ladies noticed how the children coming in now are such amazing light beings of joy and glitter and sparkles? I mean, really, just
Yeah.
wonder in their eyes and just knowledge and wisdom. Have you noticed that?
It's a completely different strain of human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nance, what do you think?
Oh, I've got 3 granddaughters, so yeah. I mean, they are, I've got 4, 2, and days old. So the way that
Oh.
they will listen, is different. Their curiosity, their ability to speak their truth. Parenting does a lot as well. Um, my son Chance and his wife Jessie are extraordinary parents. Um, it's interesting, but it's the same. It's the same. There's still the same dysfunction, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, we all think we're supposed to be something we're not somehow, and we haven't. Telepathy hasn't shown up, and our English language is still a bit short in terms of really honoring who we are as energetic beings. We're all supposed to fit still inside of some boxes that don't really work still. So, working through.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
To
you
that
said that and it
case,
reminded
Nancy, what
me,
you said. Hey?
um, TV series. Spirit speaks to me through TV and movies. So it's when you said boxes, it was that
Mm.
tiny boxes. Oh gosh, this is a few years back now. Weeds. It was a TV series, and the main character's name was Nancy, and she'd left a marriage, and she was struggling with her finances, so she started selling marijuana. And I was watching it, thinking, how possible is this? And I could, I've never been. I'm yeah, that was something. But it was interesting to watch how she was so different than the other people in the neighborhood, in their boxes of homes where everything was seemingly, they had the city councilor and the mayor and the teacher and all that. And I mean, those were the people that were buying all the drugs. Those are badass people, but it was, Susie Cream Cheese next door who seemed to have it all together, but she was struggling. So the more that we understand that we are all struggling, I think it helps us remove so many layers of judgment because we are all going through different layers of struggle. But if you can take those struggles and become the champion, there are, I mean, you can truly do whatever it is that your heart is calling to you. And I'm not talking about, oh, so that means that you can become a, NBA basketball player. No, I don't like basketball. Why would I want to do that? But what's your soul calling? What's your passion? That's
Yeah,
different.
and I do believe we all have a reason for being here. Our little lights, our little energies wouldn't be here if it wasn't. We affect the whole collective on some level, whether we are in physical contact with someone or not. Um, so grateful that you guys are talking about all these weird and wonderful things. What?
Oh, Daph, what's weird? What's weird? Daph, you got that one. Lane.
Well, okay, so I put up a post just New Year's Day, and I said my New Year's resolution is to keep being the complete weirdo that I am. But weird stands for wildly enlightened individual recreating my dreams.
Yes,
So
good
I'm okay being weird.
acronym.
I'm okay being weird.
Yeah, no. Trying to fit inside boxes that don't fit do cause people to need to return to weed, and I guess 80% of people are on antidepressants at one time or another. That says something really big about how we're operating in
Mhm.
our culture, in our families, in our institutions, in our educational systems. And
Mhm.
I encourage everyone to go a little bit more outside the box and be as weird as possible.
Right? Thank
For
you.
sure. Agree.
Yeah, find the
I
people that will take them in as soul family, and be just able to be present to what is. Yeah.
So that do you I was going to say any words of wisdom that you have, but I think that was kind of your mic drop wisdom there. But any other words of wisdom that you would have for us moving forward in
Mm.
2024?
Moving forward in 2024, things that show up are usually not what you think they are.
Okay, can you explain that?
We have a judgment
an
or perceived
example.
idea of what we think things are, and the universe always has something different in mind. And so, as we drop out of our thinking mind into our hearts, into the pure energetic reality of something, it's Jedi training. It is about source energy. It's about what the universe really has in mind. It's about that life serving energy that motivates and sustains us, that we've kind of, through our culture, warped. And I think we're getting back to a more magical place, just like those little kids that are showing up.
Mhm.
It's getting more into a more authentic way of being, because I do believe we're spiritual beings having an earthly experience, but we've stayed a little too earthly and not brought enough spiritual into it.
We've forgotten for so many years.
Yeah. So it's about the unlearning and the remembering. And yeah, that's what I hope to be successful with in the next few years, is just teaching people how to let go, unlearn and remember who they really are.
Well, and that's just it, right? Like everybody's version of success is a little bit different, you know?
Yeah, we're not the
Yeah.
same thing, that's for sure. No. Viktor Frankl has an amazing quote for that. Do you know who he was?
I remember the name, but I can't think of what the code is.
Oh, yeah, he wrote the book The Man's Search for Meaning. He was part of uh, a prisoner of World War II, and he says something to the effect of, success, like happiness, cannot be pursued. It can only come about as a side effect to one's dedication to something greater than oneself.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
Mhm.
that.
So Miss
Yeah.
Nancy, what do you have to share too?
Well, I mean, we've got the 3D experience of life, and what the 3D is the fact that we have mortgages or rent or those things that sustain us, the foundation of life. And to not have that would mean that, I mean, what I don't think there's one single person that would know what that's like to not have that, but to be able to do those things, to fulfill those natural needs that we have, as well as a need for connection and being part of a family, to bring more of the joy, the good, the God, the prayer, the meditation, all those things. You can do both. It's the and equation. I can be successful and I can be a parent. I can travel and I can still keep my clients very happy. So finding ways to do that and connecting with people that will help you do those things. Wow, what an adventure that is.
Yeah.
How much fun is that?
And
More
when
fun.
and when you're open, when one is open to that, life is so simple. Really, it is. Life isn't hard. It really simplicity in my mind is the ultimate sophistication of everything. Life isn't hard. It doesn't have to be hard. So why do we make it hard?
We've been taught that we have to try hard, study hard, all of those things. Whereas I think if you go into an experience with joy,
Mhm.
that's when it's easy. We're meant to be spongy, energetic little beings and be able to learn and do things. I don't know who taught us it had to be hard.
I just love being around children because everything is so exciting.
Yeah. And
Everything's
all those
yeah.
Lego pieces, torn apart, put back together, rebuilt, torn apart, put back together, rebuilt. We need to be diligent in what we do. Change and success won't happen while you're sitting in your magical bubble waiting for Mr. Right to come along. That doesn't.
That reminds me of I had a client recently who's can't put your power outside of yourself and wait for someone else to show up. Nope.
No, not unless it's skip the dishes. That shows up.
Your story.
Your
Maybe
food
Mr.
order.
Right will be bringing you a pizza. I don't know. It could happen.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been a storyline of some form, yeah.
Right?
So
Yeah.
do you have anything
And
else coming up this year summer? Any other new things?
Oh, well, I'm gonna speak a lot, gonna talk lots more about eyesight and insight. Most people don't know too, about my work with eyes and reducing eyeglass prescriptions because it actually does interfere with our pineal gland to have these things here that change the way we take in light. There's lots of research now coming out that it interrupts our ability to integrate both sides of the brain, the ability of the third eye to actually turn on by wearing these two frontal pieces of glass interferes with it, and most people don't realize that. It's another way of sort of numbing and dumbing society to see clearly outside, but not look too much inside. So, gonna do some more talking about those pieces and how that works. So I'm excited about that too.
I can hear the excitement in your voice.
Yeah, so much. I love that. I love that. Next week on Sunday, we have got the amazing Caitlin Cheeseman, a beautiful photographer that Daphne and I have had the blessing of having our photo taken a few years back when it was like minus 30 and we
It
were
was
outside.
cold. It was sunrise. It was cold.
It was so cool. So she is coming up next Sunday, and then the Sunday after that is Mr. Tyson George Billings. So we've got some pretty cool guests coming about
Those
on
are
these
very
Sundays.
interesting names. Tyson George Billings.
Yeah,
Tyson
Tyson
George.
George Billings.
Yes, very, very good names. Proper.
Yeah.
Curious.
Thank you so much, Summer, for taking time with us tonight and sharing your infinite wisdom with us.
Well, thanks for having me, ladies. This was fun. Didn't know what to expect, but it's kind of fun to hang out with you.
Let's be honest,
well,
we don't know until it happens.
Isn't that the beauty of it, though? I love that. I love living a life, the La Vida Loca, where I've got pivotal. I'm like, okay, so this is what I'm working on, and this is what I'm working on. This is where I'm going. I mean, you buy the ticket on the plane to go to a certain place. You need to have a destination, but in between those two places, there's a lot of beauty in the uncertainty. So. Space for grace.
Yeah, you wouldn't want anything. I want everything planned. God, you'd fall asleep in your whole life.
Yeah, no. Yeah, don't want that. Don't want that. So thank you, ladies. It was fun. It was truly fun. Yeah.
And you have a how many day old granddaughter?
She was born on January 30th. December 30th. So
wow.
Like a week. Yeah. So pretty spectacular. And that's our first granddaughter on Ralph's side. So Ralph's daughter. Beautiful little angels. Now we've got 1 here and 2 in Kelowna who are actually in Mexico right now with my dad. So
sounds beautiful.
Lots of fun. I'm sure they had a fun day at the pool eating lots of ice cream. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, Grandpa Ice Cream, they call him for a reason. So yeah.
Oh, is Grandpa Ice Cream. Really? Oh.
My dad's called his Grandpa Ice Cream. And I'm known as Sparkles. So.
Oh wow. Oh, those are really cute names.
Yeah. I sprinkle sparkles, and he buys him ice cream.
Beautiful. Good
It is.
pairing.
Yeah, right. Sparkles and ice cream. That sounds great. Maybe even together. Everything
Sprinkles,
comes
sparkles.
out at the end.
That works.
Yeah. So it was
Thank you,
great,
Nancy.
ladies. Thank you so much. Like, so
Right.
until next week, love you to the moon and back. Peace out, ladies.